Anyway, don't have you. Any of this.
Okay, appreciate it, Lenjar. Good evening, Leo Lions and Lions. Pleasant good evening to you. I apologize for the late start, albeit about a minute, but this is due to the overwhelming response that we received from incoming officers. So we had to do a little adjustment to go beyond the 100. So right now we are heading fast up to 126 and counting. So we will start. I want to welcome you to the first evening of the Multiple District 60 incoming officers training, which will run from today until Sunday, and then we'll finish on Tuesday at 7:30, where we're having a session for incoming Leo officers. And that flyer will go shortly so that Leos can register. So I just want to alert you to those of you who have Leo clubs, you can put them on alert that we will be doing training for incoming Leo officers, and that trainer will cover the president, the secretary, the treasurer, and the membership chairperson, which is a new position. So for the remainder of our session, we have the president and vice presidents this evening. Tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Caribbean time, we'll have secretaries. On Friday, treasurers. On Saturday, commencing at 12 noon Eastern Caribbean time, will be service chairpersons. At 2:30, membership chairpersons. And at 5 p.m., Leo advisors. And the last session on Saturday will be for tamers and tail twisters at 7:30 Eastern Caribbean time. And then on Sunday, commencing at 2 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time, we'll have committee chairpersons. At 4:30, LCF coordinator, and then marketing and communication at 7 p.m. And then, as I said earlier, on Tuesday, then we finish with the Leos. So this evening, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a new facilitator. The good thing about us in the Multiple District, we keep our ears close to the ground and we listen attentively to our Leo Lions and Lions. And we have received the feedback that even though some persons believe that the training they receive was excellent, they have grown accustomed to these familiar voices. So the GLT committee sought to ask persons to indicate their willingness to be new presenters, and we were very fortunate to have a cadre of new presenters who will commence this evening. And our first presenter from that group will be Lion Velda Ferguson, who will be the person presenting on vice presidents and presidents. Lion Velda Ferguson became a Lion in January 2017 and is a member of the Arima Santa Rosa Lions Club in Trinidad. She's a graduate of the Emerging Lions Leadership Institute, that's the ELLI, the 2018 class. And she's also a graduate of the Faculty Development Institute, the FDI class of 2022. She's also completed the Advanced Lions Leadership Institute, ALLI 2024. Lion is also a certified guiding lion, has a bachelor's degree from the Lions University. Lion has held several leadership positions with her club, including marketing communications chairperson, program coordinator, second vice president, and service chairperson. She's also served as first vice president and is currently the president of her club. She's also served her Lions fundraising committee chairperson, and prior to becoming a member of the board, she served as a team leader. Lion was introduced to life as a Lion leader outside of her home club when she was asked to serve at the District 68 cabinet as the marketing communications chairperson, a position in which she continued to serve the following year. She was a District New Voices chairperson in 21-22 and is currently serving in this position for 23-24. She's also had the opportunity to serve the District A Leadership Committee, as well as the Multiple District 60 International Convention Uniform, Marketing Communications, and New Voices committees. Lanvelda is extremely dedicated and believes in giving 100% to all tasks she undertakes, a trait that led to her being awarded District Excellence Award 2019 to 2020 for outstanding work as a District Marketing Communications Chairperson. Additionally, she believes that being a Lion is a unique opportunity to be part of an organization that significantly impacts the lives of others and transform communities through dedicated service, one of which has allowed her to build on her passion for serving others and protecting the environment, as well as enhancing her creative and leadership skills. She hoped that as she continues to grow in Lionism, she'll be able to push boundaries through the introduction of new and revolutionary ideas in serving. As you would have heard from that bio, I believe that Lanvelda Ferguson is adequately equipped to deliver to you on the role of presidents and vice presidents. Let's welcome Lanvelda Ferguson.
Good evening, everyone, and it's my pleasure to be your presenter for this afternoon as I share on presidents and vice presidents. And I just have one housekeeping rule, and it's that this session is supposed to be interactive. So feel free to join in the discussions that we're having. And of course, I have some activities, and I hope everyone will be open-minded and willing to participate in those activities. So as you would have heard, I'm Lanvelda Ferguson, and I am from the Arima Santos Alliance Club in Trinidad. Today, for the presentation, I'll take you through the following topics, or we'll be discussing the following topics: the roles and responsibilities of the president, the roles and responsibilities of the first vice president. Then we'll take a look at the Global Action Team. We'll discuss planning and goal setting, meeting management, which is very critical as a president. We'll look at the establishment of committees, discuss some skills that are helpful for you as president, and we'll look at what you need to do to prepare for your upcoming year as president. And then I'll share with you some resources that are very critical or very helpful to you as you function, or I should say, it was helpful to me as a club president. So just to get us warmed up and ready for the session, I'll just ask that we look at an acronym for leadership. And I'm going to ask you to just take a few minutes to see if you can find leadership-related words for each letter present. And then each letter of the word leadership, sorry. And then I'm going to just ask a few persons to share with us quickly what they came up with. So let's get warmed up and ready to participate with this icebreaker. And I can't see who the participants are, so I'm hoping that persons will just raise their hands and volunteer during that time. So the time starts now, 5 minutes, and
Can you repeat what you just said, please? Pleasant good night, everyone.
Sure. We're doing an icebreaker, highlight and clear, and I'm asking for persons to find words for each letter of the word leadership. So we're doing an acronym or word association as our icebreaker. So for example, for L, you can put listening, something that you would associate with leadership.
Lanvelda, if you go to the chat, there are several comments coming in. Listener, enthusiastic, energetic, listen, adaptable, honest, assertive, accountable, integrity, empathetic, love people, hardworking, dependable, perseverance, enduring, loyal, service, dedicated, responsible, excellence, accept, liberty, elevation, adaptation, reassure, innovative, patience, example, awareness, do, persistent, resilient, reliable, learning, hardworking, responsible, awareness, devotion, empowering others, passionate, reliable, supportive, partnership, approachable, dexterity, driver, proactive, reachable, dedication, humble, patient, encouraging, energetic, steady, logistics, relevant, innovative, desire, supportive, determined, lead by example, inspiring, and I see one person here doing all the letters: leadership, empathetic, admirable, dedicated, encouraging, reliable, service-oriented, hospitable, integrity, passionate.
Wow, thank you, Landry. And
And it's still going. It's just, you still have a lot: decisive, people person, resourceful, drive, patient, hopeful, sharing, attentive, available at all time, ethical, driven, persistent, supportive. That was the last one. Service.
okay, wow. So these are all very, very good words. And these will all play a part in your leadership role as a club president or as vice president in some way. I also saw Lion Jane's hand was up. So I would like Lion Jane to unmute and share with us her acronym or her word association. Lion Jane?
Hi, good night.
Hi, Lion Jane.
L for leader, E for ethical, and I went down the line, but I've forgot them. I got distracted by the chat. Sorry.
Thank you, Lion Jane. That's good. So these are all very good words, and they all will play a part in how you visualize your leadership. And some of the words I don't remember all of them because they were a lot. They were really impressive. But things like integrity, listening, empathetic, all of those will are words that you will draw on, or things that you would draw on as this year as you lead. So thank you very much for your participation. Oh, sorry about that. As a club president, you are ideally CEO. So like any good business, there needs to be someone who's in charge, and that is your role as a president. But this does not mean that you have absolute power where you can just make decisions on your own, right? You have to remember that you're there to serve the club, and that your responsibility or your role or your power comes from things like your constitution. So we know that persons sometimes say that persons feel that the club belongs to them, right? But your role as the president is actually just to be there as the leader of your club, right? And not act as the boss of your club. You're also supposed to be the chairperson of your global action team. And as we go through into the, we'll see who the global action team is and who the members are. I'm sorry, I'm going to take my camera off for a minute because I think my internet bandwidth is dropping. So I hope you're hearing me clearly. The
Yes, we
other
are.
role, okay, great. So the third role is that you act as the ex officio member of all committees. This means that you are a member of every committee, and as the president, you have the authority or the right to be able to attend committee meetings. You don't have to go to all of the committee meetings, but you can drop in, check on the meetings, etc., and assist. And one of the roles that I believe is very important, or the most important, is that you act as the mentor for your vice presidents. You are there to assist them get ready for their year as president. And this is one of the ways, this is major because it helps you to ensure the continuance of effective leadership of your particular club. And of course, as the CEO, like any good CEO, your role is to define the pathway for your club to ensure that you have their success for the year in which you are the club's president. In terms of your responsibilities now, you are responsible for issuing calls for meeting. This means as the president, you send out to say when there are meetings, or you notify your members of the times when there are meetings. So you send out reminders to the members, both for board meetings, as well as your club meetings. This good thing is that for most clubs, these are standard. So for example, my club, my board meeting is every second Tuesday, and our club meeting is our general meeting is every third Saturday. So you don't have to figure out when to set the dates, because for most of us, we have standard calendars. Then you are responsible for presiding over both the club and the board meeting. This means that it's your responsibility to run those meetings. You are the chair of these meetings. Your third responsibility is to appoint standing and special committees. And we'll take a look at what are the standing committees, because there are certain standing committees based on the club structure from LCI that each club is required to have. And then, of course, clubs also have the authority to appoint special committees based on what they do or how you want your club to function. So as president, it is your responsibility to appoint persons to those committees. Then your next responsibility is to guide your club to the achievement of the goals. So you are there to guide and assist let's say if you have a service goal, assist your service chairperson to be able to achieve those service goals. Then, of course, you need to ensure that mandatory reports are submitted. As with any organization or anything, you need to track progress. Up until May this year, there were 2 mandatory reports that each club should submit to LCI, and they were the monthly membership reports, which could either be submitted by you as the president or the secretary. And the second one was your service report, which can be submitted with the new system by almost anyone in your club. But traditionally, it's the responsibility of either the service chair, the president, or the secretary. And these are very critical reports that LCI is asking us to submit. However, with the new portal that we're using now, you're no longer required to submit the membership report. So your only mandatory report is now your service report. So hopefully we get an increase in clubs submitting that service report, which has been an issue. As president, you're also responsible for encouraging diplomacy within your club and solving the disputes. You are there to ensure, or your role as president, that each member has a say, or each member feels comfortable enough to participate. And of course, if there are any disputes that come up, it is your role to seek or assist with resolving these disputes. As you move throughout the year, we need to ensure, in keeping with continuity, that regular elections are held and that they are constitutionally done, because we all know we would have ways in which these should be conducted. So it is your responsibility as president to ensure that this happens every year. You have a role in terms of sharing information with your members. Often information would come to the president, or generally information would come either from your district cabinet secretary or the council secretary or the zone chairs or the region chairs to the president and the secretary. So it is your role to ensure that the information is shared. Different clubs have different ways in which they share information. For some clubs, the information is shared only by the president, and in others it is shared only by the secretary. Or some you do a mix of both, but either way, it is your responsibility to ensure that your members are informed. So, because we often, and this is very, very critical, it sometimes seems as if it's simple, but it's very critical because we often hear the complaint from members that they are not aware that something is happening, or they only heard about it from a friend in another club, and sometimes from a friend in another country. So this is very important because if members don't know, then they can't participate. A very important role is that as president, you have the responsibility to actively participate in your district advisory committee meetings. And this is just basically your zone advisory meetings. And as a president, it is always encouraged that you attend district meetings. So these are not just the zone meetings, but your regional meetings and cabinet meetings. This is a way in which you can find out additional information and know what is happening throughout the district so that you and your club members can be aware. So now we move to the first vice president. If you have any burning questions, you can raise your hand and stop me and ask the questions, or we can wait till the end of the presentation and we can answer the questions, right? So for those who are first vice presidents, your role and your major role is to serve as the club leadership chairperson. And your second role is to be ready to lead the club in your president's absence. Additionally, there may be instances where the presidents may not be able to complete the entire year for whatever reason it may be. So as the first vice president, you should also be ready to step into the role of president at a moment's notice. For most of us, we hope that that will never happen, but we should still be prepared if it does. The responsibilities of the vice president. The first one is to carry out responsibilities of the president in their absence or as the president requests. And one of the things for continuity that presidents have been encouraged to do is actually allow your first vice president the opportunity to lead a meeting. Whether you even if you are present at the meeting, it gives them the opportunity to be able to get a feel for what it feels like to run this meeting before they become the official president, right? So that's something that you can try to do in your club if you're interested. For me, I know that my second vice president had that opportunity to do it in my absence. And from what I heard from the members, I know that she will make an excellent president because she did really well at that meeting. Like your president, you are expected to attend district advisory committee meetings because you are a member of your club's GAP team, right? Your global action team, and all members of the global action team are members of the district advisory committees. So as a leadership chair, you're expected to attend those meetings. In some clubs, first vice presidents are given the responsibility of overseeing the functions of committees. And this could be either your administrative committees or your activity committees, but as is delegated by a president who decides which set of activities, committees you would be responsible for assisting with. Right? And of course, as I said, you should always be prepared to succeed as your club president. So I would have indicated that you have a major role as the club's leadership chairperson. So we'll just take a closer look at what that means for you as the leadership chairperson. So you are responsible for developing your leadership program. So your president would have set, or as the president would have set, goals related to leadership. So it might be the president would like for the club to have 3 leadership sessions, 3 internal leadership sessions. They would like to have 5 persons be attending either a district training or international training. And then you now are responsible for taking those goals and developing them into a program, and of course, ensuring or coordinating the activities. So it will be your responsibility to coordinate those 3 internal leadership sessions that the president or that is outlined in the club goals. It'll also be your responsibility for encouraging members to attend training. So a good way is by joining groups. There are a lot of Facebook groups that you can join, or just going onto the website and looking out to see whenever there might be trainings happening, and just encourage your members to be able to attend those trainings. That takes us to the next point, or your next responsibility, which is to promote member development. It is critical that we develop a cadre of leaders to be able to continue clubs. So as leadership chair, it is your responsibility to promote that. I would have touched on this one already with coordinate training and orientation sessions. So anything related to leadership or training, it is your responsibility to work with the others. So for example, your membership chair might want to have a membership related training. It is your responsibility to work and assist that person with that training. Identify potential leaders within your club. And this allows you to be able to target specific persons who may be interested in attending international trainings or district trainings and encourage them to do such. And of course, communicate with your district GLT. And this is one way in which you'll be able to know what is happening in terms of leadership within the district and the multiple districts so that you get that information. Some district GLTs have regular meetings with leadership chairpersons, and therefore it means that you're mandated to attend those meetings. So now we'll take a closer look at the Global Action Team. And the Global Action Team is the team that includes the president, as well as the leadership chairperson, the membership chairperson, and the service chairperson. So we have the Global Action Team on all levels throughout the organization. So there's a Global Action Team at the club level that is led by the club president. There's a Global Action Team at the district level, which is chaired by the district governor. And it involves the district GLT, or the district leadership chairperson, the district membership chairperson, district service chairperson. Then there's the Global Action Team at the multiple district level, and there's a Global Action Team at the international level as well. So these are just, so it's a team that exists throughout the structure, and it entails persons responsible for leadership, membership, and service. And your chair is often, is whoever is responsible at that level. So the president, the district governor, the council chairperson. And these are just some of the roles of the district, of your GAT. But basically, a GAT is the team that drives your club, or that drives the success of the club. Because as you would know, that it entails the major pillars that is critical to your club, which would be leadership, membership, and service. Right? Do we have any questions before we move into planning and goal setting? Any questions?
Lanvelder,
Yes, Lanjan.
this is Lanjan. The one question is, will the presentation be shared with the participants so we can reflect on go back over the presentations again, if it will be shared?
Van Showin, do we have any restrictions on sharing the presentation?
No, all presentations will be posted on the website and can be shared. Yes.
Okay, so yes.
The training sessions themselves will be posted on the multiple district site. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Yes,
Before we move
please
into
explain the service chairperson's responsibility, or will we be tackling that later on in another session?
There's a training session for service chairpersons, but basically your service chairperson is the person that's responsible for planning and coordinating the service activities of the club. So anything related to service falls under this chairperson, and the role or all of the responsibilities varies within clubs, because some clubs have committees, specific committees set up for different global causes. Whereas for other clubs, they just have one service committee that is responsible for conducting or planning all of these service activities. But as the service chairperson, it is your ultimate responsibility to ensure that the service goals set by the president or by the club is attained or best as possible. 2, that your service activities are reported. And 3, you're responsible for coordinating. So while you may have a chairperson for a specific global cause, it is your responsibility to assist those persons in coordinating and planning all those activities. But of course, there is, as I said, a session on service chairpersons on Saturday, is it, Van Showin? That will give more detail on service.
Yes, Saturday at 12 noon.
Saturday at 12 noon, and it will take you through exactly how you do things like reporting, etc., planning projects, etc. Any other questions?
None at this time, Lanvelder.
Okay, so now we move to planning and goal setting. And it's very critical to plan and to have these goals set for your year. And your planning usually starts with before you actually become president. So you could have started planning from since you were the first vice president. And as a matter of fact, it is encouraged that first vice presidents start looking at or thinking of things that they would like the club to achieve when they become president, right? And of course, with any good thing that you may want to attain, planning is critical. So I'm sure you would have seen this before, that when you're setting goals, your goals need to be smart. They need to be specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be attainable. They should be realistic, and they should be time bound, right? So for example, you shouldn't just say, I want more visitors. It should actually say something like, we would like to have 10 visitors per meeting or 3 visitors per meeting. By defining, one, you would have defined the number, which makes it measurable as a goal. So if you know that you only have 2 out of 10, that your goal has been 20% completed. By saying per meeting, you would have actually set a timeline, so you know each one is a separate thing. And then of course, if you know that you're in a club where you can't get 10 persons, then you should not set that as a goal. It doesn't make it an attainable or realistic goal. You may more want to say, I would like to have 1 member per meeting, 1 new person or 1 visitor per meeting. And this could be related to based on where your club is located, your meeting time, etc. But often when you're setting goals, and same thing when you're setting goals for any element of life, the goal should be smart. So then you take these goals and you use your goals to build a plan. And your goals are usually set along the important areas of, as you would have identified, leadership, membership, service, fundraising, the critical area as well. For me, I also included goals for my club this year. We usually include goals related to programming, which is the element of our team that allows us to be able to determine how our meetings will be, the types of social interactions we want to have. So I had goals along that line. And for each of those areas, you want to set up clear goals. So you determine what. So each area you have a goal statement. So for membership, you might say to increase membership by 5 members. So you want to add 5 members to your team. So you create a goal statement. Then you indicate how you would like to have conduct quarterly membership recruitment drive. Right? You indicate a deadline. For some areas, you might want to leave it open for the entire year. For others, you may want to have it within the first 6 months. For some, within the first 3 months. Then, of course, you indicate who is responsible. This is so you know who you can go to measure to see how this is going. And usually, this is your chairperson. So under membership, the person responsible could be the membership chairperson. If there are goals that cross over more than one area, then you'd put both let's say the leadership and the membership chairperson. And then of course you put a measure of how you will know how it is when it is accomplished. So we want to bring in 5 new members. It means that you can measure that goal by the number of new members that you would have actually added to your team. So, and because goal setting is so critical, LCI in all of its wisdom gives us or provides us with resources that allows us to actually be able to make this job easier. And this is called the Action Plan Worksheet. And this can be found on I can also send you the link to this as well, but this can be found just by searching it on the LCI website, right? And this actually takes you through and makes it very easy for you to be able to make your goals smart and to set goals. And it's recommended that you set That you use one form per goal that you're trying to complete. Right? So this takes us to our first activity. So we will go into breakout rooms and we will practice doing some goal setting. So I'd like you to develop a plan with a minimum of 2 goals for one area. So persons that end up in room 1 will do leadership, room 2 membership, room 3 service, and room 4 fundraising. Would you like me to repeat the activity or is everyone fine with it?
Please repeat
have
the
a-
activity.
Please repeat.
So we're going to go into breakout rooms now, and we have an overwhelming number of participants, 200 and something. So there'll be several persons within each breakout room. And we're going to work together to create a plan with a minimum of 2 goals for one area. So persons who will be in room 1 will work on leadership, room 2 membership, room 3 service, and room 4 fundraising. So you'll create your plan, and then when the room closes and you'll assign a scribe and you will share with us your plan that you would have created. Everyone's clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Jared, could you just split the group into
Okay, just one quick question. How long would be the exercise?
10 minutes?
10 minutes. Okay, great, great, great. I'll just factor that in and we can go.
Lion Builder,
Yes, Lanja?
Lion Candice just suggested that members can take a screenshot of the activity. So when they get into their breakout room, they will be able to share it.
Yes, good idea. Thank you, Lion Candice.
Just take a minute to allow people to do that, and we go to the breakout rooms, open all rooms. Okay, Jan, can you help with assigning some people to the rooms?
Will do.
The bigger number and the small number. I mean minus it.
What does the range tell you?
I have no idea.
You have to do a little more research.
Hello, is everyone, are you all okay in this room?
I am not sure what room I've not been assigned a room, but I'm hearing your voice asking if we're okay with this room.
Okay.
I am still waiting to be assigned to a room.
Okay, you will soon be assigned. Apologies.
Okay, as far as I can see, I think everyone has been assigned to a room. Lion Jared, is that a correct statement?
Yeah, from my
No, ma'am.
knowledge.
Actually, I'm an incoming president, and I'm still not assigned to
Okay,
a room.
I am so sorry. Here you go. Bam. There you go. I see Lion, Kathy has a hand raised. I don't know if Lion Velda wants to check out Lion Kathy. She is in room 1. She has a hand raised. We may just need to extend the time.
Yeah, I will. Let me see if I can do that. Nope.
Can't extend. We could send them
Can't
back
extend.
then.
No. Yeah, it will send them back. Because once it started, once they're in the room.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have one person who has not joined. She's in room 4, but she hasn't clicked. Accept.
4.
Yeah, she's still outside here.
Who's that
Let me
person in
send her
room?
to the next room. Clarita. I just sent her to another room. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anybody else.
But all of these who are out here, they have not gone in, but I'm not seeing their names here to assign them to a room.
Well,
Not
waiting room.
joined,
There are
yes.
9. Oh, sure, there are 9 people in the waiting room. Okay, let's admit all.
Okay, I was putting people in rooms. I didn't get this to.
Yeah, so was I.
Let's see who I have here who can join.
All right. So we have some people to put in rooms there now.
You can call here, Jared.
All right, I'll get them open.
Okay, Jerry, we do have a few people that we have
Still
to.
outside, yep.
Yes. Somebody just joined. I will send them to your phone. Cedric. Sign into room 2. Velda got dropped off by Dara.
Hi, I think I'm back on. And
Yeah,
Jerry, could we add a few
Yes.
minutes to the, I think we're a bit ahead of time, so maybe we could add 5 minutes, seeing that it took us so long.
I think it's automatic now. I can't
Yes.
change
The time, okay.
the time right now. So
Okay, from what I'm hearing, they've been
Somebody
discussing, so I think we should still be good. And if there's anything, we'll just ask everybody to contribute at the end. We should still have time at the end, so it's
all
fine.
right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Marlene was in room 3.
We have Marlene.
Marlene, could put
Javante.
Marlene back into room 3 for me, please, Jared. Thanks.
Marlene, where is
Room
Marlene?
3. She initially was in room 3.
I am not.
I am looking for her name as well.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Marlene to move. And
There
breakout
she
rooms
is.
will
I
close in
got her.
16 seconds.
All right, so it's not allowing me to put them. So we have to send them back anyhow. Let's hope they go
Yeah.
back into their same rooms. Will they?
Yep.
They should.
If they know their rooms, they'll go back into their rooms. Okay.
Okay.
So just remember their rooms. All right, people are coming back.
Is there something that we press to get back into the room?
No, it will cut. It will.
Because we got logged out.
Minutes.
Yep. That means that the time 10 minutes.
Time is up. Time
Yeah,
is up.
time was up.
Yep.
Jared, can we recreate? Can you click recreate to go back and do that, or you have to?
Depending on what Builder wants to do, we can look at it.
Yes, can we add 5 more minutes for them? Because I think we're ahead of time, so we can give them that grace. From what I heard, some of the discussions are pretty interesting.
All right, they will have to. If participants remember their groups, they can go back to their groups. So,
But how do you get back into the groups? I'm not seeing a tab on my screen.
You should see it now.
Can I choose my group?
You go back to your same room, and you should be okay.
Not anything.
And Jared, where exactly is that tab?
I'm not seeing that at all.
Oh.
No.
I'm not sure if
Tab
it's.
never came up, Kenny, at all.
I'm not sure if it's available on the phones. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing it on the phone. I'm seeing it on the tablet and the computer.
On the
I'm
laptop,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it either.
So
Yeah,
it's on
same.
it's on the tablet and the computer, but not on the phone. So
Where on the computer?
But for the
I
first
didn't
see it on my computer. It never came up.
Yeah, it's not there.
assigned. For the first session, we were assigned. Could we
were
Okay.
assigned. We were just
be assigned?
Yes, and we had to accept, but in this instance,
We're not seeing the option to
Yeah.
accept.
Okay, members. Okay, we'll just hopefully you had the opportunity. We're sorry about that, unfortunately. So hopefully you had the opportunity to share in your groups. And if I can have one person from each group that would like to share with us some of the goals that they would have come up with. Anyone would like to volunteer from your group to share?
Hi, good evening, Lion Cafe, Port of Spain North, Group 1, Leadership.
Sure, go ahead, Lanka.
Hi, and then any of my other members, feel free to interject as well. We were able to briefly discuss, and we did identify 3. I would identify 1. The overarching goal, developing leadership pipeline, and that strategic would have been identify, nurture, and train a minimum of 3 emerging leaders within the organization to ensure continuity and growth to the organization, by extension, each of the Lion clubs to ensure continuity and growth.
Okay, excellent. And did you add a time frame when you wanted this to be done by?
Given the fiscal year period, we may possibly look at a 3 to 6 month period, at least within the first half of the fiscal year, by which to execute training.
Okay, thank you. Anyone has any comment on the goals that they would have shared? Were their goals smart? Can we measure them? They were specific.
You know, going into the
Someone speaking? So we would have heard group 1. Hi, go ahead, Tracy.
Lion Ernie Hatchcatty, Group 2. I'm just assuming responsibility to report. No one nominated me. Group 2 membership, and any of the other members who are on can make any amendments. But we looked at membership, as I said, recruitment and retention, and we suggested to have quarterly social activities to attract, to recruit members, and it was felt that we should look at specialization in membership, or we have a percentage increase, recognizing that clubs vary in numbers. We also thought that membership experience is something important for members, but we were unable to identify. We ran out of time actually to identify how we would do that.
Okay, so you had the general idea, but you were not able to draw down into what makes your goal measurable and your specific activities under your goal. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So we had membership and we had leadership and we had membership. That leaves service, someone from the service group.
Good night, everyone. My name is Christina. Our area was service and we focused on hunger. Our aim was to feed the destitute. Our goal was to feed 100 to 200 persons within the first quarter. Our action steps were to plan the menu and to utilize club members to prepare the meal in efforts to build team spirit and togetherness. We ran out of time there. So anyone from group 3 who wishes to add?
Thank you, Line Christina. Would anyone like to add?
A bit comfort.
I heard someone speaking, but I'm not sure who was speaking.
That was Lion Burnley.
Oh, the voice did sound familiar.
I'm saying that he had it covered.
Okay, thank you, Lion Burnley.
But I think that the gist of the whole exercise, we have covered it.
Okay, thank you. So that brings us to, yes, Lion Wendell.
No, I was saying good evening all. I joined in our room late, but one thing I wanted to raise at that just before we got through it out, we were in the process of doing the action steps to getting to the goals. And one thing I wanted to add then, I think is also very necessary, is the need for a needs assessment before you do any service project, because sometimes you could run into a service project that really and truly the need is not there. It's, you may go. I know, for instance, there's one club that would have been attempting to do giving like pads or sanitary napkins, as they call it, to a girls' school. However, the school themselves were saying, listen, we have a lot of this, and maybe get from all over. So sometimes one of the key steps in service, I think, should be a needs assessment in the action plan.
And that's very correct. You actually took us into one of the resources that should be utilized when you're creating your action plan. So that's a critical resource that LCI provides the template for us as well. So thank you. You're ahead of the class. You're ahead of the lesson for the session today. So yes, but that is a critical resource when you're looking at your service, planning your service activities for the year. That brings us to the ever exciting group, or the ever exciting goal of fundraising. Can we have someone from group 4? Nobody got
Lions. Good evening, Lions. My name is Lion Alicia, and I have just assumed the leadership role to speak on behalf of our group. We did not get very far in the discussion as we ran out of time, so I just highlight where we got to. We realized that we're all from different countries with different resources, financial resources, and so our goal was to raise at least $5,000 by the mid-year of 2024 to 2025 through the execution of 2 fundraising activities. One is a cookout, that's a food sale, and there was another activity I can't recall. If anybody can recall it, then feel free to identify the specific activities.
That would be the dollar
It's
drive.
A dollar drive was
surprise.
the leather one.
So the dollar drive, and if we had more time, we would have drilled down to the other details, the key activities that would lead to the execution of the activities identified to realize the goal.
Were you able
Thank
to
you.
identify some timelines for your first activities or your first goals?
No, so we said we wanted to raise the funds by the mid-year of the linguistic year 2024 to 2025, but we did not indicate when we were going to have the activities. We had just identified the two.
Okay, and did you indicate? Okay,
Pardon?
I may have missed it, but did you identify how much money you want to raise?
Oh yes, at least $5,000 by then.
All right, so yes, so we can measure that goal. You had your timelines, which makes it specific, and you also had the specific activity that you actually want to do. So that also makes it very specific.
Yes,
It is
correct.
not always, may not be, for clubs that have signature activities, then it's very good to add those in there. But if you don't, and if you want to explore and create new activities and get creative, you just indicate to have how many ever activities by a certain timeline, and you raise this minimum amount. So I hope that we would have grasped the basics for this, and I will share the link for the templates or that LCI has, or you can, as I said, research it, right? So do we have any questions on goal setting, or is everyone comfortable and ready to set some goals for 2024, 2025?
There are no questions in the chat at this time, Line Builder.
Okay. One of the key things, thank you, Lanjan, related to your goals would be, of course, having a theme for you as president or for your club for the year. And your team could be based on, you can use things like the international president's team, the district governor's team, etc. as your guide, or you can get as creative with it as possible based on what you want to achieve. For me, I utilized for my team this year, which was improving lives, transforming communities through impactful service. And I used the team from, apart from service being one of the things that I was particularly interested in, I used the goals that were set by the international president and our district governor to build my team. But then I spinned it in a way where I planned my goals where the lives that we were impacting were not just external, but also internal. So some of my membership activities were not only geared towards increasing membership, but doing membership retention through things like recognizing my members, etc. So that's just an example of how I did it this year. So these are some of the goal setting resources. And when they would have touched on your community needs assessments, right? Also, it's critical that you use things like your club strategic plan, because your club strategic plan may have a goal for membership growth, for example, over the past few years, over the next few years, right? Then you should also look at the achievement reports. This says last year's, but you can go further back. So for example, if you have a plan that's set from 2025 to 2028, and you are now serving in 2026, you can look at what was done in 2025 and see what is left, what has been achieved and what is left to be achieved, and then set your goals to be able to assist your club to meet that overall goal. And of course, you can utilize your DG's goals and your international president's goals as well. So for example, both the international president and our DG this year asked that we focus on environment. So that was one of the goals that I aligned or that I included in my service goals. And then I also looked at the fact that the environment is something that is critical, and there's a need for us to better preserve the environment. Another goal that was from the international president and the district governor that I incorporated is they were encouraging us to partner with other clubs and other entities. So I set that as a goal within my goal as well, and asked that my club or my service chair that we partner with other clubs to do service activities, and that we find at least one external organization to partner with. Another thing that you, as a resource, is your club's annual calendar. This helps to be able to coordinate and plan when activities should take place. Also, the LCI annual calendar, as we know that there are different months where we celebrate different things. So we know that diabetes takes place in November, sight in October, etc. So that helps you as well with your planning. On the LCI side, there's actually a webinar that directs you through or takes you through goal setting and action planning. And I encourage persons who are interested to utilize that as well. And there's also the SMART Goals template, which I would have shared with you as well. So there's a plethora of resources that we can utilize to help make this process simple. So, you know, sometimes persons may say, but this is new to me. I'm not used to this, you know, but there are a number, as I said, of resources that can assist. And of course, you can also draw on human resources. There might be persons within your club who may do this as part of their regular jobs, right? So you can draw on or persons or your previous presidents. So for example, I expect that my incoming president and my vice president will seek assistance if they need from me, and I will also be offering assistance to them. So presidents, when you're moving out of presidency, this is the type of assistance you can offer to your vice president next year. Okay, so now we get to meeting management, which could be easy, it could be difficult, it could be fun, or it could feel like a task, depending on your outlook. And when we're looking at meeting management, we're basically looking at 3 steps within meeting management. This refers to it as preparation, facilitation, and follow-up. I think of it as before, during, and after. Okay? And like with all things, it is very critical for us to be prepared. Because we all know the adage that says, if you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. We would not go to that extreme. But we just know that if you're not prepared for meetings, sometimes, especially when unexpected things happen, it usually jolts you and it throws you off your game. And sometimes when you're presiding over a meeting and you're not mentally prepared or physically prepared, it really does affect you. So I'm going to start at the bottom that says prepare yourself. So for me, when I get ready for meetings, I try to be mentally prepared. So I try to ensure that I'm in a good space and place to be able to lead this meeting. And then I physically prepare. So I go through, I check to see what resources I need. I hope my board meetings are online. So I check to ensure that my internet is working and pray that it holds throughout the meeting, things like that. Sometimes you may not have be able to have meeting in your regular space that you would have meetings. So you just make your new space as comfortable so that you make sure that you're in an environment where there's not any noise. If you're having an online board meeting, if you're having a physical board meeting or physical meeting, you ensure that the space is prepared the way you want it to be, etc. Right? Then you provide advance notice of meetings. This should be done at least 24 hours before the meeting. So you send out a reminder, even though the meetings have set dates. Don't take it for granted that every member remembers that it is supposed to happen on that day. So you send out notice of your meetings. You prepare and distribute the agenda for the meeting. And this agenda could be shared when you're sending out the notice of your meeting along with the minutes of the previous meeting. And any other reports or things that you deem critical for members to know or things that will be discussed. So like for us, we send out the financial report as well to board members, for example. We touched on ensuring that the facilities are adequate for your meeting. When you're doing club meetings, you may want to have a different feel to the meeting. So you ask the tamer to set up the meeting in a different way. If you're having a guest speaker, the room might need to be arranged in a certain manner. You might need to see if you have your projector, if you have speakers to play in the national anthems, or if you have, etc., so that you ensure that those things are there. Then within your meetings, you select a program that you think would be beneficial to your members. This does not have to happen every meeting. But for me, I tried for every meeting for us to do something different. So I would have a prep meeting with my programming chair for us to see how we would make meetings interesting. I did one of my goals this year under my thing was to make my meetings fun. So of course, that meant that I had to ensure that fun was there for every meeting. And my club members respond very well when they hear the word prizes. So I tried to add an activity where at least one person could win a prize every week, every meeting, sorry. And that meant, of course, I had to be prepared. So I had to have my prizes. We had to make sure that the activity that we were going to do was coordinated, etc. And for us, this helped with attendance at meetings, right? Your members may not be as competitive as mine are, but trust me, once my members hear prizes, it just adds to what they want to do. So these are some of the things. And of course, having a good understanding of the parliamentary procedures, how meetings are supposed to be run, understanding that persons are supposed to stand when they're addressing the chair, how you start a meeting, how you end a meeting, etc. Right? So this is before. Now, during your meeting, these are some of the things that's very critical. Starting and ending your meetings on time are very critical. Time is a precious commodity for most persons, if not everybody. And therefore, a lot of people would have assigned specific time to being at meetings. As much as for me, I would love for my members for us to stay and chat a little bit after. I have to respect that my members may have other things to do. So it is very critical that you start meetings on time. And of course, end meetings on time. I had my personal goal, which I did not list in my goal, was to have 100% of my meetings start on time. I can say that all of my 100% of my board meetings to date have started on time, on the dot, whether I had 2 persons there or not, I started on time. My general meetings have been a little less successful, but I've also tried to now maintain that they should not start any more than 10 minutes after they're supposed to start. And so far, all of them, except for one where I had a personal emergency, I've been able to start within 2 minutes of the time. But for me, that still means that I have not hit my goal of starting on time, even though it's only 2 minutes. But it's critical that we start and we end on time. It's very important that we manage the atmosphere and the behaviors within meetings. This means that your meeting should be an atmosphere where persons feel free to communicate and where persons are attentive, persons know what's happening, persons participate, etc. And we know that sometimes there are some disruptive behaviors that happen within meetings. We're human, we chit-chat, we distract others, etc. But as the president, it is your job to control those types of behaviors to ensure that persons are not distracting other persons or being nuisances to other persons, etc. And of course, you should always try to make your atmosphere as light and as positive as possible so that persons will want to come to meetings. Give recognition. Say thank you to persons who would have participated in your meeting, persons who would have assisted with making your meeting successful in whatever way. Or just add different types of recognition. This is something that you can get as creative as possible with. For some of my meetings, we do things like the first person to arrive or persons who participate. And I've also have within my membership, I've recognized everybody's birthdays and then other achievements that persons may have, right? And then of course, try to be transparent, share critical information with members, ensure that persons are aware of what is happening within the club at all times. If persons ask questions, don't always be open and honest in answering these questions. If there's an issue, answer, etc. If you don't know the information or if you need to get back to members, you can say that, but please do get back to them. Don't ever let the members feel that they're being kept in the dark about something, because that then now creates negativity within your club that could create some issues. So this is during your meeting. And after or at the end of your meeting. If you're not meeting in a space that is your own, so some of us don't have our own dens, So we might be meeting in a school, a community, a center, etc. We should restore the area to how we found it as best as possible, right? You should follow up on action items that were brought up in your meeting. So there might be a service project that needs to be completed or something that needs to be completed. So you follow up on that. You acknowledge and thank persons who would have assisted during your club meetings or at events, etc. And this also helps them with recognition. And then, of course, send out your minutes and agenda prior to the next meeting. So this is after your meeting, and this will then lead into your following meeting. So we have another group activity where we want to look at meeting management or club management. Hopefully we'll get these the breakout rooms done a bit smoother this time. So we're going to go back into groups and then maybe we can add a few more minutes. I think we're still ahead of time. Yes, a little bit. And then we can do this at maybe 12 minutes.
You can probably use 15.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that permission line, Sherwin. So we can use 15 minutes to discuss this. And so we have 3 scenarios. The first one is, as president, how would you deal with persons who are constantly talking and distracting others during a meeting? Second one is someone who keeps interrupting and being negative about everything that others are sharing at your meeting. And the third one is a member that sent a disrespectful meeting to another member in the club chat. So the activities are assigned like this. For room 1, you will work on scenario 2. So if you could take a snapshot. Room 2, you'll work on scenario 3. Room 3, you'll work on scenario 1. And then room 4 will also work on scenario 2. And then we'll share just as we did before. Everyone understands the activity, or would you like me to repeat it?
Can you just repeat the room assignments, please? You said
Sure.
room.
Room 1 will do scenario 2. So room 1 will look at someone who's interrupting and being negative about everything others are sharing at a meeting. Room 2 will do scenario 3. So this is one with the member with the disrespectful message to another member in the club chat. Room 3 will do scenario 1, where you have members who are constantly talking and distracting others during a meeting. And then room 4 will also work on scenario 2, which is someone who's interrupting and being negative. Everyone okay now?
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome, and Suzanne. Okay, so I look forward to the discussion and to your sharing. Andrea, could you put them into rooms for me, please?
I think we're having a little issue with the breakout rooms this some reason.
Oh, okay.
So let me.
Jared, I will take rooms 1 and 2. You will take 3 and 4, and we'll assign.
Okay, let me just open again and
Yes.
try.
It should have gone into the rooms automatically.
Yeah, but it's not. Okay, so let's the participants can join rooms on their own, I think.
It's not allowing us to.
No, it's not allowing
What?
us to.
Not allowing you to.
Excuse me, on the
I'm-
cell phone.
Down at the bottom of your
I
screen, you'll see join
Hello?
breakout room.
Yeah. I
A
actually have it
person-
on my phone now. I didn't have it before. It's on my phone now.
For persons using their cell phones, there's 4
Oh.
squares at the top left corner of the phone
Well, I was.
that says
Yes.
join breakout room. So you have to click on that and then go to your desired room. That's for the cell phone users.
Yep,
The
the number-
laptop users, some of us are not seeing any indication though.
It's not showing on my laptop.
Same, I'm not seeing anything on my laptop.
Actually,
If
If you go to
if
more, you would find it.
far right.
If you go to more at the bottom, you'd see join breakout group.
Okay, so it's moving.
Yes, the team is exercising manual assignment. So everyone will be assigned a room, rest assured, but no sticking, get to working.
They're moving, they're moving.
the process is still going, so I think some people just need to be patient. Yeah, because there are a lot of persons to,
Yep,
to
that's
go
right.
into the room. Yes.
We have quite a number of people who have not joined.
Yeah, we're down to 48. They're moving, but give 42 still to join a room.
Yeah, because there are a lot of persons.
Yeah.
So the rooms are averaging like 50 per room, so that is still some time to go through the process.
Correct, correct.
Well, in future, what we could do is each co-host take a room and assign people if we know the average is 50, and we just shuffle it out that way.
Yep, we have 34 still to join, 33.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yep. $25 still to join. It's going. It's getting there, and that number includes. We're at 20, and that number includes the co-hosts. Okay, we should be all right now.
Some people still have not accepted. So it seems
Yeah.
some people not joined.
That means it logged on and nobody's physically there. Tricks of the trade.
All right. So if you go to, we have a couple people showing up not joined. We can
Reassign them.
Yeah, we can reassign them.
Okay, I will take room 1. You can go to the next
Okay.
room, Gerald.
Okay, so Candace, you can move to room 3.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let me look at room 2 now and see anybody who's not joined.
I'm just an observer. I don't have to go in that room.
No problem.
That's Velda number 2 male version. Can you change her name, Velda number 2, to male version?
Oh, a whole lot of people in room 3 not joined still, and room 4. Let's go. Let's get them. Let's get them in rooms.
Is this room silent? Who's taking charge?
Which room is that? If you're in the main room, you will hear me.
Room 1 is
Yes, so
taken care of.
So you still have a number of persons here?
Jared, which room are you in?
I am in room 3 now, or moving
Yeah.
people to room 3.
That not joined means they didn't accept the breakout room invitation.
correct.
Yes,
Correct.
exactly. So I don't think we need to, because reassigning them is not
Leave
going to
them
work.
be. Exactly.
Yeah,
Just
reassigning
leave
them
them
is not going.
be.
Yeah.
They're a ghost until they return.
Guys, perhaps what can happen as well before the training is to kind of do like a tit-tat on Zoom, because people get forgetful as to how to access those things. So I think what may happen is that it either don't pop up on their phone or their laptop, or they just have the main screen on. So people just need a little refresher.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it helps, particularly if you haven't done it for a while.
Yep, it's a good suggestion, but there are also some persons that will definitely not accept to go in the room. I think that's the challenge here. Some persons probably choose not to.
It's not that they choose not to. It is more like they're doing things in the background and they're away from their device, whether it be the driving, they're preparing for work tomorrow, whatever the case may be. I have done this too before. I know the look.
Mm-hmm. And so we can just put people in rooms. If you see anybody that's not joined, assign them to a room, and we can get everybody in a room.
No, Jared, 2 of them I reassigned and they still haven't accepted. So it makes no sense sending them. You'd just be shuffling them all over the place.
Oh Lord.
Jared Jackson, please behave yourself.
What's that?
Please behave yourself.
Behave myself.
Jared Jackson invites you to join room 1. Please behave yourself.
Yeah, I put in people all over the place. As
No,
long
some
as
of these people I have reassigned and they
Yeah, as long as I
They
see
have
you,
not accepted.
I will put you in a room. Let's see. I will.
Two and a half minutes again in the breakout rooms.
What's that? What's that?
2 minutes, 20 seconds remaining.
Okay. Well, some never moved.
But shouldn't they have just gone automatically to a room? When we open the breakout rooms, I think that can happen.
Yeah.
No, you have to accept.
Yeah, they have to accept
No,
it.
what I mean is that, yes, but we didn't have to assign them. It should.
Yeah, it could be automatically and
Yes.
randomly assigned. There's a setting in breakout rooms that's supposed to allow
Yes.
that to happen. Yeah.
Actually, it's set for automatically assigned, but I don't know why it didn't allow that. So we had to go in and assign.
Yeah, I don't know because it's for automatic, and that's when I didn't see it happening, we had to go in and try to do it manually.
Yes. As the first time I tried to reassign 200 people plus to breakout rooms.
Perhaps it's too much breakout groups at a time. It's probably just allowing for one.
Yeah, even for the first one.
No, it's only 4 rooms. It's only 4 rooms, so it
It's
should
only 4
allow it.
rooms, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
it's a lot
it's
of people though.
it's a lot of people in the breakout rooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gerald, I should be
No, what
home in about 5 minutes, so I will drop up a laptop to give you all some assistance with the assigning people to rooms if we have to do it again.
Yeah, we down to 42 seconds left for the breakout room, so it will be closing.
Yeah, so that's something we will discuss a
This
little
is the
later
last
on.
breakout room, correct?
Yes. Yes. Only 2
Hello, Wendell.
activities I
That's
had.
something we will
Good thing.
discuss after.
Good thing I only put in 2 activities because I had another one. But
All right, but then I will do the third breakout room by myself. Then don't worry, I've got it. I'll take care of it.
10
Yes,
seconds
probably.
again.
We never had to deal with such large numbers, so we'll do it next time.
Yep. Including making sure you have a plus 100 for the sessions.
Yes, but you all reacted quick. You all reacted quickly, so.
Yeah. Closing breakout rooms will close in 15, 14.
Gerald, have to remember to send the link for the secretaries and treasurers meeting in the chat after.
Yep. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go.
hi, welcome back, everyone.
Thank you.
I hope you had a good time discussing and chat in your group. And who would like to volunteer to start? Oh, it's still. Are we all back? Who would like to volunteer to start?
The lines are still coming in line, Velda.
Okay. Okay.
Unless we lost a few people, we are 207 at this time. I
And
think
then
that's
that
it, line, Velda.
you can proceed.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you had very fruitful, exciting discussions in your groups. And I'd like a group to volunteer to start.
Good night, Lions. Leo Lions, Lion Roxanne Ugaro, Success Laventer Lions, Trinidad and Tobago. Lion Velda, we were in room 2. We had to deal with question 3. A member sent a disrespectful message to another member in the club chat. And coming out of that scenario, we had quite a bit of suggestions as to how we would address the matter. You know, we had the suggestion of talking to the member privately. Another member would have suggested deleting the message. Another member suggested taking it to the board, giving reassurance to the other members of the chat that the incident would never or would not reoccur. Sorry. We had a suggestion to emphasize the rules of the club chat, and ask that members be respectful. And I would also tie that in, do have gentle reminders about the do's and the don'ts of the chat. We had someone suggest that we engage both parties apart and then we bring them together to see if we could rectify the issue. Ask that the individual place a public apology in the chat, in the club chat. We also had that the president and the vice president to speak with the individual who would have posted the message. And someone suggested if it's a first-time offense, you pull the person aside to determine the cause of the text and to limit the matter. And this is to limit the matter from blowing up. Lastly, we had a suggestion that you have members of the chat with policies in place. They must be knowledgeable about the policies and they have the policies in place as to how they would deal with the matter of the disrespectful text. And if there are other members of of our group, our room 2 group, that would like to shed any light on what I would have mentioned, please feel free to do so. Thank you, Lion Velda.
Thank you very much, Lion Roxanne. And thank you to the members of Group 2. Those are all very creative solutions. And of course, the best solution will be tailored or could be tailored to the individuals as well as at the club, you know, things related to your club, right? So you can try all of them, or you can try the one that, of course, the one that best fits and would bring the best amicable solution. So thank you very much, Group 2. Another group that I would like to share.
This is Lion Suzanne Blah, W Lions Club. I was a member of Group 4, and we had to address point number 2, someone who keeps interrupting and being negative about everything others are sharing at the meeting. So other team members, if I forget anything, please add on. In terms of addressing someone who keeps interrupting, we decided that it would be a good idea to set a reminder in terms of the meeting house rules and just remind the club of those before the meetings. One of our team members reminded us of the existence of Robert's Rules, which is guidelines for exactly that. And it's on the Lions International website. So it's something that clubs can use as a reference document in terms of how to go about conducting meetings. Another member suggested that the tail twister can get involved here so that rules when set, the penalties for those that are not followed are also previously understood. So if rule number 1 is broken, this is the penalty. And it is a good way for the club to also raise funds from people being disruptive at meetings. In terms of being negative, we put forward the idea of offering a solution. So if you don't like what is being proposed, what would you like to suggest as an alternative? So you can't simply complain or share your opinion that may be opposing, but also come up with a suggestion that may be better in terms of what was previously proposed. It also in terms of offering a solution, you also want to acknowledge what was already proposed by giving it a try. So it can be requested that we try the possible suggestions and decide after a period of time which one works best for the club. We can also have a democratic approach where members, the majority rules. So if 3 or 4 suggestions are put forward, what is the idea that most members have decided they would like to try as an option? Did I forget anything?
Does any other member of the group would
I
like to
think
add
that's
it?
spot on.
Okay. So that is from group 4 as it relates to point number 2.
Thank you, Lion Suzanne, and thank you, Group 4. Group 1, you also had the same scenario. Is there anything that Group 4 shared that you would like to add that you did not have? And if you'd like to add it, please, Group 1. Okay, then could we have someone from that had scenario 1 share?
Hi,
Oh.
Lanvelda, just before you move on, the one
Hi,
thing I
Lion
think that
Kennedy.
we had, adding to what was suggested there, would have been if the topic itself related to a matter that could be discussed at a committee meeting, we refer further discussion on that particular topic to the committee and have them present some information to the board on that particular matter to resolve the issue.
Okay, thank you very much. Good job, everyone. So can we have Group 3 that had scenario 1? Just share with us briefly.
Right, Land Burnley.
Burnley. Hi.
Trinidad Central and Club Trinidad and Tobago. We dealt with the first question with regards to persons who are constantly talking and distracting others during the meeting. And the group had concluded that one of the first things we will do is to implement good parliamentary procedure, which we know come with rules as it relates to raising your hand in the event that it is a virtual meeting, or in the case of a personal meeting, raising your hand, we recognize, and awaiting permission or approval from the president to give you that opportunity to speak. You not adhering to that and constantly talking and distracting others, as president, the person should be warned of their behavior. And after several warnings, if they continue, we suggest that the person should be asked to leave the meeting. They should be asked to leave the meeting. Sometime thereafter, as president, you can have a meeting with that person together with their sponsor and maybe the membership chairperson to discuss the behavior of the person at that last meeting that caused them to be expelled from the meeting. The person should be asked to apologize, not to you, but at the next meeting. And of course, they should be given the assurance that they will be tail twisted at the next meeting for their conduct. That's what we came up with.
Okay, thank you very much, Group 3. Thank you very much for participation. Excellent things. I especially love how we brought in the tail twister. So we know that if these things happen, we'll either end up raising a good bit of money at the meeting, or we'll have proper behavior at these meetings. But these are all real scenarios that can happen, and as president, you are responsible for controlling these situations when they happen in your meeting. So you seem to have a good, based on your responses, good ideas in how you would treat with this should it happen. I see 2 hands raised. One is Lion Marianne, sorry, and So, Lan Marianne, do you have a question?
No, good night, everyone. This is Marianne from Guyana. It's not a question, but it's more of something that we discussed that I did not hear in the other groups. And that is, and I think it's a key thing. We discussed a member sent a disrespectful message to another member in the chat. And one of the persons that was in the group that I discussed with, they said that we should allow that person to make a apology on a public one, not just to the leader, but to everyone. And I think that is very important, because whenever this person make that apology to the entire chat, then everyone else will see that, okay, this is not, all fun and jokes. This is not, they would understand the measure of the disrespect, because sometimes it go unnoticed, or the person don't apologize publicly, and then everybody else think, oh, this is okay, this is something okay to do, and then you get it repeating.
Thank you, Lan Marianne. There were two other hands that were raised, but they're now lowered. Is it that the persons no longer wish to speak? Go ahead, Lan Iselin. Lan Iselin? Okay, I see that there's a line. Stacy, whose hand is raised.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to remind everyone that I would imagine each Lions Club would have a document, a policy document, and a document that outlines the bylaws of the club. Well, I think sometimes we can use these documents as guidance as to how we go about, treating with some matters. And if it is that one or both documents don't address the issue, that might be a great opportunity to make some edits. So the document should be able to guide persons as to how to treat with certain matters.
Thank you, Stacy. Any other comments or questions before we move on? Go ahead, Lan Iselin. I'm seeing your hand raised. Hello? Lan Irvin. There's a raised hand. Okay,
I had raised my hand previously, but the Lion, what's her name from Guyana just spoke. She basically stole my thunder. But honestly, if you have a situation where someone constantly disrupts a meeting, one of the things that for me, I've been involved in other committees in other areas, but one of the things that I do from the outset is that I set clear ground rules at the beginning of my meetings to establish the expectation that I have of my members or participants, allowing them from the outset to know that, look, everyone has the right to speak, and but tailor your comments specifically to the topic. Remind them of the agenda. I would do that, and sometimes to avoid meetings dragging on as well. But where there's disruption specifically, one of the best ways is for me, I identify that individual and engage the distractor. Excuse me, to engage that in person. Talk back with them. And once I from my experience is that once you've engaged them and give them the opportunity to speak, invariably, most times, once they've let off the steam, they sit quietly after that.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. And that's actually one of the recommended techniques for when you're doing large meetings, so like community meetings or town hall meetings. That's actually one of the recommended solutions to persons that are distracting in a meeting. Engage them in the meeting and get them involved so that they hope that they will pay attention and not distract others. So very good, Lan Irvin. Thank you. Thank you all again for your participation. Has really exceeded what I expected when I set this activity. So if we don't have any other questions or comments, we'll just move on in the essence of time. So earlier on, I said that As the president, you're responsible for assigning committees or establishing committees each year. And this is the basic standard club structure that LCI has developed. And we are required to have within our clubs a leadership committee, a membership committee, and a service committee. Those are your basic committees, and those function under your GAP team. Then, of course, you have other committees that you can add. As recommended that you also have a finance committee, which will be chaired and led by your treasurer, a marketing communications committee, chaired by your marketing communications chairperson. And then, of course, you can add things like constitution and bylaws, information technology. Some persons have, for my club, for Arima Santa Rosa, we have a programming committee. Other clubs have things like a hospitality committee that's responsible for refreshments. Then under the service committee, some clubs have special committees for special things. Some have a committee that's solely responsible for things like, critical. We should have a fundraising committee, because that committee will be responsible for generating your funds for the year. And you can add others if you would like to as well. Some persons have different types of committees based on, of course, the size of the club. So clubs that have 100+ members can have more committees. And those of us that have less members will have, but these are the basic committees that we are required to have. So this is the standard club structure. This again can be found on LCI, and I believe that most of or all of our clubs are following this structure. This is just a breakdown of what the committees are. So the committees in red are the optional committees, whereas the ones that are in black are the committees that you're required to have. Those are called your standing committees, the others are your special committees. I know information technology was one that a lot of clubs added and focused on during COVID, because we were all virtual at that time, but some clubs have now opted to not have them anymore, right? So our standing committees are, as I said, membership, service, leadership, marketing, your nominations committee as well, which is not on the standard club structure for LCI, but it is recommended that you have it. Within Arima Santa Rosa, our nominations committee is chaired by the immediate past president, and all of the persons on that committee would have been past presidents. So, and this is a critical committee that you have because it ensures that elections are held every year. Of course, your finance committee, which reviews your finances, and then your fundraising committee. So to be a president, there are certain skills that you will require. This says critical skills, but of course, skills are things that we can all build and learn, right? So some of the key ones are public speaking. You don't have to be a master at this, but it's one of the things that you should try to become comfortable with. So I am doing this presentation right now, and for most of you, it may sound as if I'm comfortable. But honestly, before I became a Lion and started doing more public speaking and presentations with the job that I currently have, every time I had to even think of doing a presentation, I would be sweating. I would be so scared, and you would hear it in my voice. I can say thankfully today that through doing presentations for Lions, and of course through my job, as I said, I am not sweating today. I actually feel very comfortable, right? But of course, to be nervous is normal. But what you have to do is practice and prepare. So I did practice for this. So it means that I was nervous before. Then of course, know your audience and set your presentations or the way you interact with them based on the audience. This just means that you would not share information to 5-year-olds the same way you would share to 25-year-olds. Or you would not share same information the same way in a virtual space as we would have done if this training was face-to-face, right? Organize your material so that it flows in the best way to determine the purpose I have. Watch for feedback, make certain changes if possible based on what you're doing. So you might be presenting in a classroom and you're looking at the persons and everybody looks bored. So then you have to just mentally quickly calculate in your mind how you can get persons to be interested in what is happening, right? Number 5 is one that I like. Let your personality come through. And you can do that through the use of humor, stories, languages, etc. Do not read unless you have to, but do try to work from an outline. Use your voice and hands effectively and omit nervous gestures. Well, thankfully, this thing is online, right? So that we often are not able to see when persons are nervous. But if you're doing this in person, grab attention at the beginning and close with a dynamic ending. And these are just, and then of course, use audio visuals A by B. And I show you would note that I'm using a photo of Lion Jared on this side. I think has one of the persons who have actually mastered public speaking. So it's very always interesting to see him present, right? So hint, if you need some tips, you can reach out to Lion Jared. Another one that's critical for you as president is to understand the concept of succession planning. This is critical for your club in terms of continuity. So the ways in which you can utilize this is you meet with your incoming president to discuss the leadership transition. This can be done from as soon as the person has been nominated, right? But usually it happens once the person has been elected to the position, you can sit and discuss. Then you plan your end of year, which for most of us is our installation ceremony, where the current president reports on the outgoing year and the incoming president is installed into their role as president. And then of course, plan your annual installation dinner. And these two things here can be one event. So those are just some of the basic skills. There are many others that you can apply as well that would help you in your role as president. So it's critical to plan for your upcoming year. This should actually start from the time you're elected, or as I said, from the time you're nominated. And it starts with developing a team for the year. Your team would guide the activities that you want to happen for the year. The team will also guide the goals that you develop for the year. So then, which takes us into step 2, you develop a goal. Or you develop your goals for the year. You can set as many goals as you think are attainable. Don't set 1,000 goals if you know that you have a small club membership or you don't have the means of attaining these goals. It's better to set 5 goals and be able to achieve them than to set 50 goals and you're not able to achieve them. Because of course, your success as a president is measured based on the goals that you would have set and the achievements that you would or you and your club would have achieved during the particular year. Conduct a pre-board meeting. This is a meeting that happens before you start your year. And this is an excellent opportunity for you to share with your board and get buy-in on the goals that you would have set. So this actually gives you the opportunity. When I was doing my goals, I did not create my action plans for my goals until after I had my board meeting. So I created broad goals and then I shared those with my team. And based on the feedback that I got from that, that's how I was able to create my action plan. So I asked the service chair, were they comfortable with this goal, with the goal that I'm setting? Do you have any contribution to it? And the ideas, I utilized those ideas and combine them with the ones that I already had, and it helped me in developing my action plan. And it allows for your board to have buy-in before this is presented. Then you establish your committees. This means that you set up which committees you have and you assign persons to the committees. And then you share your team, the goals and the committees, so everything in general with your board members. And this is how, and then of course, when your year begins, you hit the ground running and you move towards the successful completion of the goals that you would have set. As I would have indicated that LCI gives us a range of resources. We would have heard persons mention other resources as well that we can utilize as presidents and as vice presidents. One of the key ones that we would have heard about, I think Lion Burnley mentioned this just now, is Robert's Rule of Order. It's always very helpful to have a copy of this. This can be downloaded online, but I know several persons have this as well as physical copies. For the and it usually helps you to be able to develop all the different procedures for your meetings and deal with situations that you would have discussed in the activity that you would have done. Yes, ma'am. If these are not available in bookshops in Trinidad, they are available online on Amazon. And these are just some of the things that information that it gives you, but I won't go through all of it. But one of the things that it says here is that it models courtesy and respect and insists that others do the same. So this allows you to set those types of things. These are LCI resources. So the first one is your club president and vice president ebook. And this provides guidance on how you prepare for your year, things that you're supposed to do, information I would have shared with you today in terms of your roles and responsibilities are also found in this as well. Then your club constitution and bylaws. This provides information on the way in which the club should operate. And this is modeled after the constitution and bylaws for the international organization, with certain elements of it tailor-made for your club. Then we would have just gone through the standard club structure, and this is a resource that's helpful, as I said, in your committees, setting up your committees. You can find these resources, all resources, in the Members Resource Center. So if you go onto the Lions Club International website, you'll see a section that says Member Resources. You click there and you can search for whatever you want, and it's there. Your Club, Your Way. This is a tool, that allows you to be able to customize how you do your meetings and even other elements of your club. So it's a very interesting document that you can read through, and it helps you to basically tailor your club to best suit you and your members. Build a vision for your club. This helps with planning as well, and particularly long-term planning. Your club quality initiative. This is another tool that helps you to be able to deal with certain elements of planning and the way in which you see your club going, etc. So these are just, as I said, some of the resources. There are also online courses that you can do on the learn element of the new portal. So you just go into learn and you click, and they're actually online courses that take you through your roles and responsibility as a president, roles and responsibility as a vice president, and in there. So that is one that is also very useful for persons who are first-time presidents. So at the beginning, we would have looked at leadership. And I just wanted to share with you this graphic from Adam Danal that breaks down the power of leadership. And it tells us, in terms of leadership, to be a leader, we should have good listening skills. We should be empathetic. We should be approachable, dedicated, ethical, respectful, supportive, humble, inclusive, and proactive. And I'm very happy to say that all of these words were used by you in our icebreaker this afternoon. So you are very much on track to executing the power of leadership. I found this graphic and it was very interesting, so I just wanted to share it with you. It says your title doesn't make you a leader. Here are some of the things that do. One, your actions, what you do, your attitude, your behavior, your drive. Your club often would feed off of the energy of the president. As with any, just like if you're dealing with children, sometimes the children feed off of the energy of the teacher. If you're dealing with, let's say if you're at church, for example, for those of us that go to church or at temple, sometimes you may feed off of the energy of the person that is leading whatever session that you're at, right? Of course, your empathy, your example, your integrity, and with all of this, you'll earn your team's respect. So as I end, I just also had some other quotes that for me have helped me in defining my leadership role this year with my club. And I particularly like the one that said, weak leaders blame others for their mistakes, but true leaders are humble enough to admit their mistakes. And this reminded me that whenever something happens, that as the leader, I'm supposed to take responsibility for it, particularly if it's something that affects the entire club, right? And there is another one that also talks about, but I couldn't find it to share with you, that it talks about as a true leader, you often accept the blame, 100% of the blame, and share 100% of the recognition. So that said to me that as a president, whenever my club achieves something, it is my duty to share the recognition with my members, because without them, I could not have achieved what I achieved. And if there's an issue, as the leader, as the club CEO, I'm supposed to take 100% of the blame. And this one by Dr. Miles Monroe that says, great leaders do not desire to lead, but to serve. I think this one is very fitting for us as Lions. So as we go out to being presidents this year and being leaders, let us execute that desire to serve and to assist our club members in excelling this year. So thank you very much for your attention to our presentation today. And do we still have time for questions, Sharon? Oh, we have 5 minutes over, but if you have any burning questions.
Yeah, we still have some time for questions, so.
If you don't want to you can raise your hand and ask them, and we'll try to answer, or you can pop it into the chat. And John, do we have any questions in the chat?
Not seeing any at this time. Lion Candace has indicated they can either raise their hands or put it in the chat.
My brothers, this is Terrence here from East Club. Mine is not a question, it's just to congratulate you on an excellent presentation. The information was informative and it was well received.
Thank you very much, Lion Terrence.
I have a hand raised. There was a comment made in the chat earlier, and it's one that is always a question asked at the beginning of the year, especially when you begin to plan your term. The district governor, by the end of your convention, district governors should have had their objectives in place. And I always suggest to presidents to reach out. You can reach out through your zone chairs to your district governors to ensure that you get a copy of the goals for the coming year, so that when you begin your planning meeting, you would begin your planning meeting with the goals of the governor in hand, so as to ensure there's no plans that do not fall in line with the district governor. So I think that was a comment that was made earlier, that sometimes the goals of the district governor is probably known at the first cabinet meeting. So I would ensure and remind the incoming officers that the goals should be in place before the beginning of the year. So you can always reach out to your district governors to ensure that those goals are shared, so that when you're having your planning meeting, those goals can be incorporated into your plans.
Thank you, Lion Sherwin. We have, and that is very much something I can note. Lion Trevor
Lewis has his hand raised, yes.
Thank you, Lion John. Lion Trevor?
Hey, good night, Lion Trevor. This is from Guyana. I just want to say that the information was very informative and very timely and very on point. More so, the activities that was given was activities that is normally faced by presidents throughout the year. And I think the ideas that was brought and give forward was very informative and very on point. And I think presidents more so, and in the absence of president, first vice president and second vice president should take note of them and use them as ways to counteract information and challenges that they might face within the physical year coming forward, 2024, 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lion Trevor.
Lion Velder, we have a question from Lion Wendell. Who selects the chairs for committees, and does the incoming president have any input?
The committee chairs for most of the committee chairs for the standard committees would have been elected to your board. So for example, your service chair is an elected member of your board, who's your service committee chair. Your membership chair, same thing, leadership, marketing. For some persons, some boards have programming chairs that are also elected positions. But other than that, the president, so for example, the fundraising chair is selected by the president. The president's responsibility to select the chairs for different committees.
And that is the incoming president.
The incoming president. The incoming
Right,
president
okay.
selects their team. They may seek advice from the outgoing president. So for example, I am an outgoing president with, I think it's 5 weeks left. So my incoming president may seek advice from me based on who I would have selected on the committees that I chose. So she may ask, is a she for me, she may ask me to make recommendations or assist her, but ultimately the incoming president is who selects their team. Just like the district governor selects their team, the incoming president, unless of course your constitution and bylaws has something else in it. So for us, that's how our constitution and bylaws is set up. But for some clubs, it may be different. So for example, in our constitution, we have who will become the nominations chair. That is set in there that the IPP or the immediate past president chair the nomination committee. So that is a standard, and that also is outlined who the members are of that committee in our constitution and bylaws. It has to be some persons who would have previously served as presidents in our club. Yeah. So if your constitution and bylaw is different, then that is what you default to.
Thank you very much, Lion Velder. Several comments in here congratulating you on a well-prepared presentation. Very informative. Thank you very much for all your hard work.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your attention and your participation. Honestly, as a presenter, whenever you said activities, it's hope that persons will participate. So I'm very happy that you did and that you found the activities very useful. And I wish you all the best in your upcoming year. And I know from the discussions that was generated, we will have very successful years. Years, because each president will have a very successful year.
Lion Velder, can I just add one thing? I want to endorse something you said very early in the session. This year, we had challenges with presidents and secretaries not sharing information within membership. I want to endorse what you said. It is their responsibility to ensure that the members receive the correspondence that is being shared by respective zones, regions, committee chairs, the district governor, CAPSEC. So just to endorse what you said there.
Thank you, Diana. And
Lanjan, they must also read the correspondence when they share it with them, eh? Because a lot of them don't read it, and they still have to
read it out in the meeting.
Yes.
Thank you, Lion Burnley.
Okay. So for one of the things that I did was I added certain things that were important as announcements at the end of the meeting. So I have announcements at the end of my board meetings, and I have announcements at the end of my general meetings as well. But it's also critical that you read the correspondence, because sometimes persons may not understand. And this training is a perfect example. I shared the correspondence with the incoming board, and several persons had questions. Had I not read it, I would not have been able to assist. So sometimes it's critical that you yourself don't just click forward, but you know what is happening in what you're sharing as well. So that's a very good point, Anthony. And you can also choose what is the best way for sharing information to your club. For some persons, it's easier to share it via email, and for other clubs, it's easier to share it via WhatsApp. In some instances, you may have members that are not electronic, so you may have to print out correspondence or call them about it, etc. So you tailor-make how you share your information to ensure that it is shared to the maximum amount of members as possible. But it is critical that you share information.
We have one follow-up question from Lion Wendell. So the service chair, we don't disappear. So the service chair, secretary, treasurer, etc. is it only the nominations committee without the input of the knowledge of the incoming president? Is it only the nominations committee?
That selects those persons?
Yes,
Lan Wendell?
aside, Lan
Yes,
Wendell, can you come on?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, one second, let's put it. I'm asking if let's say this, I'll use the term slate. When the slate is presented to the membership, right, as the incoming president, the nominated president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, all of that, right? Is it that the nominating committee does that without input from the incoming president, or is there supposed to be interaction, collaboration, or input from the incoming president on the nominees, or on the nominees?
This depends honestly on the club. For Arima Santa Rosa, you're not aware of who the nominees are until the nomination meeting. But I've heard from interacting with other clubs that the president actually is able to select their team. And then the nominations meeting is just a formality. So this varies based on the club. For Arima Santa Rosa as well, the president does have an input though in who their secretary would be. So the nominating committee will ask you as the incoming president, who would be your preferred person to serve alongside you as your secretary. And this is important because your secretary becomes your right hand. So usually as a president, you would like to have somebody who you know that, is able to keep you on your toes or that type of thing. So that is one of the things that we default to. But the other positions are usually, except for, of course, the IPP becomes the LCI coordinator that's set in our new constitution. And other than that, we only find out who our slate is at nomination meeting. But as I said, different clubs do it different ways. So
if I may add, it's a good question, Lan Wendell, and it depends on the culture in the clubs.
Correct.
As you are aware, even though you may have a first vice district governor, a vice president, you may also be, sorry, the phone is, if somebody decided to call me the wrong thing. You may also have a situation where some person may also be nominated for that position. And in that way, then having input from that first vice president might not be appropriate. But if it's standard that the incoming president is going to be the president going forward, it would be beneficial that the nomination chairperson have consultation with that individual for the selection of the team. As Lionvelder said, in particular, the secretary, because then it would ensure the incoming president is pretty comfortable with the persons he's asked to lead. So it depends on the culture of the club.
Correct. Line
Thank you
Carl
very
from
much.
Tampa had his hand up. Yes, Line Carl.
Yes, and Lion Sherwin touched a little bit on this right now, depending on the culture, because like in our club, for example, our nominating committee is the vice president, the first vice president, the sitting president, and the immediate past president. Those are the three that form our nominating committee, which then present the entire list in consultation with, of course, the candidates to be. That's how we do it on our end, for example.
Thank you. So, Lion Wendell, I hope that helps. So it is the culture, the club. So some clubs, different clubs do it differently.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Do we have
you, Lions.
any other
If there are no more questions, any other burning questions? I want to also take this opportunity to acknowledge the other members of the MD60 GRT team who were online and providing some valuable support, like Candace Campbell, District 60A, and like Ron Stevens from District 60B, who's providing some very excellent support. We also had the support of Len Gerald Jackson, first Vice District Governor-elect 60A, Len John Blaze, who was also providing some excellent support. And we also had the MD MD60 IT chair who was wearing two hats as support, but also being trained as well as the incoming president. So I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Len Velder for starting us off excellently tonight with her presentation. And I just want to remind you that it continues tomorrow with the role of the secretary, and on Friday, the role of the treasurer. And then we go into Saturday with the service chairpersons, membership chairpersons, new advisors, tamers and tail twisters. On Sunday, committee chairpersons, LCF coordinators, marketing and communication chairpersons. And we end the series for incoming officers on Tuesday, where we will have a session for the Leos. We will be looking at the president, the secretary, the treasurer, and the membership chair for the Leos. So I want to thank you, Len Velder. I want to thank you, the 225 persons who decided to take this opportunity this evening to go through the presentation. Thank you so much, and we look forward to you joining us tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time as we do the roles of the secretary. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.